We are back with the lovely Donna Ramsammy. Donna, what did the people of Kenya, well, how did they inspire your design?
By all the indigenous patterns. There are so many. Each tribe has its own markings. Each tribe has certain, and we see them all the time now. We see them on handbags. Gucci just did a show, and they're all African designs. The art of dyeing, the art of making jewelry. I mean, some of the best jewelry that I've ever seen has come out of Kenya. The Maasai's, their intricate beadwork. There was actually Miss World the other day, and one of the gowns was inspired by the work of the Maasai's. Their beadwork amazing, and I wanted. Lots of people would say to me when they would see what I would do for myself at the time, using the African designs. Oh my God, that's amazing! Where can I get that? And I'd start to grumble. I did it, and they would. Oh, and this is how it all started, you know. And then I was commissioned, and then got some formal training, and then I was commissioned, and then I got into doing all sorts of things because as I was learning from the Kenyans, a lot of Kenyans at the UN wanted to learn from us. And the West Indian group, for which I was kind of spokesperson, said to me, so we'll exchange. So we exchanged our way of dressing and our food and our craft. I was there trying to find coconuts at the coast, which is like a 7-hour drive away, to show them how you could do jewelry with coconuts. And they were showing me how they could do it with their semi-precious stones. And so it was a time of awakening and enriching on both sides of the fence. My daughter, who was born in Montserrat, lived her first 5 years in Barbados and grew up in Nairobi. People at her school, she went to a British school called Hillcrest, which is absolutely amazing. And all the Kenyan children that went to that school, and there were a few of them, but from the very elite families, the Kenyatas and so on. And their parents were always in awe, and they wanted to know why were the West Indians always laughing, and why were we always happy, and why did we always wear such bright colors, and why did we get together every weekend to play dominoes and have barbecue, and they couldn't understand our lifestyle. So in the time that I was there, for 12 years, we tried to share a lot of it. And now I get emails thanks to technology, and I get messages from all my friends saying, oh my God, it's not the same since you left. We tried to make curry, but it's not the same. Because, of course, they know to make curry the Indian way, not the Guyanese way. And, oh God, we're trying to hold this fete, but we can't get people to dance. When you West Indian guys were here, you all walk in the party. Because we learned how to do all the West African dances. And we would bring, we brought up groups like Shakademus and Pliers from Barbados came to Kenya because they know about Bob Marley. And so the reggae thing, we did reggae festivals. And so even though my husband was there with the UN, I was there doing all sorts of, getting involved in all sorts of cultural things. I formed part of a group called the Best of Kenya, and I was the only black person on that group. It was, of course, lots of colonial types settled, and that's why they fought for Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, and Kenya, because two absolutely amazing countries, and South Africa, where the weather is perfect. It's always in the 60s and 70s, where the housing was beautiful, where they had these Kenyans trained to be docile. So they wanted those countries, and you know why? They're absolutely incredible.
Donna, and then you return home after
And
Kenya.
no, I lived. My daughter, my husband retired, and he's always wanted to come back to Ghana.
What was that? What happened then? What was that journey like when
I
you got
had
there?
an interim stop because my daughter at this point was just finishing high school and about to go off to university. So I spent almost 2 years in the UK with her. And that is the time that was a period for me. I mean, I'd gone to Europe. My sisters lived in England for over 45 years. So I'd always gone to the UK. But spending an extended period as I did, um, again, showed me how much we have to be thankful for.
Mm. So tell us about your well.
I then had the European thing, and I see all the designers and the great finish, and I longed for great fabric because working out of East Africa, I got great leather and I got great cotton and I got great silk from India. But there were all these other linens and stuff that living those 2 years in Europe and beating the pavements and going to all the designer shows and getting involved in high fashion and couture. And that certainly brought me, I think, brought my game up to another level because now I was able to put the fusion of the Caribbean color into the depth and the belly of Africa and Asia, and then the finesse of the Europeans, which in my mind, I mean, you can't beat them.
I love that triangular description there, Donna. Gosh, I am
So
salivating.
what I am today is as a result of all these molding factors
Wow.
together with an inquisitive mind that doesn't grow old, a body that's growing old but not a mind,
What?
and a husband who's always pushed me to greater heights. He's never tried to stop me or restrain my wanting to experiment and delve in color and creativity and including young people from all walks of life. So I've been given um, by my mother the strength to do it by Bishop's High School, the education to be able to impart by my husband, the freedom to do it by my daughter, the love of seeing me do it. She's an author, she writes among other things. So she's not as artsy, but she lives through my colors and whatever. So it's been a molding of so many facets that I think my work today reflects that fusion, that
What what made you take fashion seriously and make a career out of it?
for
What
the
was the
fact
trigger?
everybody asks me where did I get my clothes from.
Tell us.
And
Uh-huh.
did library. I mean, I worked at the libraries. The librarianship was my thing because my mother wouldn't hear of fashion. Child, what is fashion? What money you can make? I remember from very young days cutting up the clothes that she would have. I have a sister who lives in London who I'm very close to. And we're 3 years apart, and she would have the same clothes in a different color. So you're going to church Christmas morning. My sister Greer has on a red check, and I have the green check, and it's the same style with a big sash in the back. And I wasn't going to do that. So on Christmas Eve night, when these clothes came home, I would take a scissors to it. And when I'm dressed to go to church, and I'll cut one side socks down, I'll cut the lace off the other one. And she would look at me and say, "Oh my God, what happened?" And I'd have to invariably go and put on something else because I really looked like a raggedy doll by this point. But I was like 6, 7. So that's when I started knowing that I wouldn't conform.
Mm. How would you describe your brand?
Feminine, sexy but classy.
Tell us about your motivation for your 2015 collection, Carpe Diem. Tell us about that.
What was my motivation is that Carpe Diem sees the day. Getting the impression that a lot of youngsters, I don't know when last you've been back to Ghana, but a lot of our younger society, they're forgetting their sense of occasion, their sense of where to wear what, when to wear what. And so I was another one of my mentors, I must say, has been Magda Pollard, who was also one of my teachers. And I remember for years since I've come home, I've had a private collection in my gardens for only my clients. So you'll have probably 140 people. And I remember Magda telling me year after year, "Donna, you have to stop this. It's no use beating up on the young designers and saying they're not doing the right thing, they're not sending the right message. Where do they get an example of doing a professional job? I remember again going back to Carmen Jarvis saying to me, she just went to a fashion show in Paris and it paled in comparison to the show. I think that year was 2007. So I had all these people who were my mentors saying to me, you got to take this thing public. And being a little disillusioned with what I was seeing in terms of the dress style and young designers in Guyana, I just thought um, last year, we always launch our collection in the October of the year before. So October 2014, I just thought it was time to seize the moment, take my collection public, open it up to a wider cross section of people. I will have people meet me on the road and say to me, oh my God, I saw your styles in the papers. You know, I collect them. And because they've never been able to see them, because it was always this very private showing. Because we have a thing where we only have 100 clients in any country. We have customers all over, clients all over that I try and service once a year. So I'm traveling nonstop because everybody wants to speak to you. They want to find out what color you want them in. You know, they want to feel that you're hands on. So it was kind of like keeping it very, very tight, which was my intention. But then I was listening to all these voices in my head saying, Donna, you're getting older. You're not going to have much energy much longer. You need to open this thing up and you need to let young people see. And it's been amazing because this Carpe Diem, we actually included a lot of young students, present day students from Bishops. And they were very much a part of the production of the show. And we rehearsed like crazy on choreography. And so they could see how to do, and it was a production.
What did you learn? What did you learn from opening it up?
What did I learn? I learned that you can't please everybody. I also learned that my work out there in the public scares a lot of people.
Mm.
Because before it was in the public, nobody felt threatened. And nobody should feel threatened because I feel there's a space for everybody. Actually, designing is one of the careers in Guyana where a lot of people are making a living out of it. So there's a space. Everybody's work is different, but suddenly you're targeted. Because I was always in my yard with my private clients, mainly the diplomats. What? You didn't seem to be, but suddenly now you're out there in the public, and it suddenly changed everything. Everybody's, for both good and bad, lots of people coming to you and say, oh my God, where have you been? And then a lot of people in the field trying to, make life difficult. But, I come out of the Bishop's High School stuff. It doesn't bother me. It makes me stronger.
How would you say has your work improved since you began your line Leather and Leisure?
I think I've become a little more adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have. I think my finish is a lot better. Certainly, packaging and presentation. I've learned a lot about that. I think I've become even more original. I mean, all designers should be original, but we're all touched and we all take things in from other designers and, our memories and movies and for me, nature. But I think I am marrying ideas together that 5 years ago maybe I wouldn't have.
Mm. What is your vision for the next 5 years or for 5 years?
Oh
Vision for
God.
your design for the next 5 years.
My vision for the next 5 years is to have a lot more young people. I don't know how many more I can have. I mean, all my fashion agents, and that's what I call them, display agents. We don't have models. Because they're all part of it. They know everything on the inside out. They can do their own jewelry. They're amazing. I make sure that they're all a wide cross section. Oft times in the Caribbean, you go to a show and you see one or two races. In Guyana, we have 6 officially, and I say 10, all the mixes in between. And I make sure my shows have representation And all those girls and boys are so with it. They're on target. They're an amazing bunch of people. I'd like to reach out and touch some more young people. I plan to do more work with mentoring at bishops. I do a lot of work with young people in my church. I think I want to reach a couple more corners,
Uh-huh.
not in terms so much of being out there, but doing a little more training.
Why is that so important to you, Donna, to pass the torch?
Because I think if we don't do it, we're doomed.
Mhm. What is your deepest concern, your deepest fear for fashion in Guyana and the Caribbean?
You want to put me in trouble. Um, my deepest fear is that we are copying too much.
Hmm.
I don't think there's enough originality. I don't think designers are spending. We source a lot of our fabric. We use only natural fibers, and they are top quality. I think our credibility is getting shot because a lot of people are using not even seconds or thirds, but not good enough fabric. And no matter how good your work is, if the medium you're working on is not good, it will not, it will look good once and then you wash it and it looks like nothing. We have outfits that have stood up for 15, 20 years and they look today. I have clients who tell me, I wore that outfit you made for me in 2000 to a wedding the other day in St. Kitts and everybody went crazy. I hear that from everybody. They're distinctly different.
By your definition of success, would you say you're successful?
I don't think anybody, if anybody thinks of themselves as uberly successful, they ain't going nowhere. I still have a lot to learn.
Hmm.
I still have a lot to teach. I still have a lot to do.
What is one thing about you that might surprise most people to know?
Ha! There are many things. That sounds like a can of worms question.
No, it's not a can of worms question. I didn't know you were a dance instructor until I read your bio.
Oh yeah. Well, for many years, I taught dance at National School of Dance, and then I taught jazzercise in Barbados because I just had my daughter, and I wanted to get back fit. And somebody said to me, um, would you like to come and teach dance? And so I said, why not? And I think in 1982, Jazzercise, it was the first set of Jazzercise in the Caribbean, and it was the Hilton Hotel. And I mean, we had classes. I then took those classes, which I did among a ladies group at the UN in Nairobi, and we call that Dancercise. And again, I have people saying to me, "Oh my God, that was so much fun, and we lost weight and we were fit."
When I
An unusual thing about me that I played my other than fashion and anything creative, dance, food, whatever it is, I play Scrabble like a maniac. Very competitive.
when are you most happy?
I think basically I'm happy all the time, but I'm happy when I have something that challenges me.
Mm.
I get my one imperfection that I admit to is impatience. I am so impatient because I move and think quickly. Anything you see, like the computer and stuff, my husband tells me all the time, "Oh my God, if you could sit a little longer, you would learn so much." I am impatient. I have to be doing things with my hands
Is
or
that
my brain.
is that what drives you nuts about Donna Ramsammy? I was going to ask you that question next. What drives you nuts about being Donna Ramsammy?
Perfection.
Perfection. What colors, Donna, usually play around in your thoughts when you're alone and quiet?
What colors?
What type of colors you think about a lot?
Oranges and yellows.
How do you balance such a demanding career with family, leisure, and friends?
The latter has suffered vastly in recent years. I have a friend circle in Guyana, but it's very small. Mainly Bishop's High School old students and people that I play Scrabble or cards with. Um, Most of my liming buddies, I work hard and I play hard.
Hmm.
I love music, therefore I love jazz festivals, carnivals, reggae festivals. So anywhere, I love the opera. I love any pop singer that's worth their salt. So I go to live shows wherever I go. Um, they inspire me, and that's how I like to wind down and relax. I love my alone time.
Hmm.
Um, I don't read. I used to read a hell of a lot, but I don't read as much. I'm not a TV junkie. I tend to like the trashy things like X Factor and American Idol and all the junk. I don't really get into very serious TV because I am so fired up about and passionate about my job that I'm so passionate about my country and politics, and so as to not get a heart attack or a stroke, I have decided to cut all of it out of my front brain. It's still in the back, but I don't want to read newspapers very often. I don't look at local TV. I don't want to know. Every now and again somebody would say, "You hear what happened? 4 people just died in a car crash." I find a lot of that negativity can make me go into the black and whites heavily.
Gotcha. If you could go back in time, what would you tell the 15-year-old Donna?
Follow your dream. Listen to your heart.
What are
Oh,
you most sorry, I think I cut you there. What are you most proud of?
my daughter.
Looking back on the long arc of your career and accomplishments, what would you do differently, if anything?
I don't know that knowingly I would do anything different. Um, Circumstances sometimes.
Hmm.
I stopped dancing professionally because we had a very bad car accident in Nairobi. And I was quite smashed up and out of commission for a while.
Mm.
So circumstance made me stop dancing professionally or semi-professionally. I would have loved to dance a little while longer.
In retrospect,
All my shows are not catwalk shows; they're choreographed shows.
already.
So yeah, it's as we say, we're taking you on a trip of fashion through culture.
Ah,
So they're all dancey. I should send you a clip so you can
you
play it.
please do. I see how you fuse the arts and culture into your designs. But
Right.
look, in retrospect, what do you know now that you wish you knew when you first started your career?
That everybody is not as honest
Oh,
as you are.
what is your favorite place to visit, Donna?
It depends on my mood.
Well, let me give you this hypothetical. You have this place to go, this favorite place to sip your favorite drink. Well, you said you hardly read now, but a favorite book and to listen to your favorite music. Where will this place be? What book you think you might be reading? What will you be drinking? And what music will you be listening to?
As I said, my daughter's an author, and I'm reading and rereading her book. So whenever I get a quiet moment,
Yes.
it would be her novel, which is um, many others. That's the thing. Depending on my mood, I have books and magazines, and they're all around me. And depending on how I'm feeling at that moment, I reach
Okay.
for something like that.
Favorite
Uh,
drink.
my
Favorite.
favorite drink, the only thing I drink water, Diet Coke and coconut water. I'm very boring. I drink no alcohol. I shouldn't say that. Correction. On rare occasions, like birthdays and anniversaries, I'll have 1/8 of a glass of champagne.
Mm, okay. Coconut water, I love.
Diet Coke, I know it's terrible for me, but I'm probably an addict of some sort. Coconut water, I love, and I'm now trying to drink water because I'm told it's so good for you by everybody.
What do you look forward? Sorry,
Juices,
and the music. What music will you be playing?
again, it depends on mood.
Okay.
I'm a soca junkie,
All right.
uh,
Two more questions.
but I also love the sitar.
Ah,
I also love the drums. I also love great voices, Barbara Streisand, Whitney, Celine. Um, you know, so again, it's totally dependent on my mood.
I had the privilege of interviewing the third world drummer, former drummer William Strode here the other night. You would have enjoyed him. Played
Mm.
some amazing music for us. What do you look forward to doing on weekends?
I work. When you work for yourself, like there's no weekend. Every day. When
Donna,
I tell you 24/7, it's 24/7.
my last question, Donna. What makes you laugh out loud? We both know you're funny because you
Let
crack me
me,
up all the time.
let me be proper. A bit of
Yes, be proper.
very colorful Caribbean humor.
Very what?
Colorful Caribbean humor. That
Do-
will make me laugh out, or some good old time jokes.
Donna, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And I know you have things to do, and you took the time off to share your story with us, and I appreciate that very much. I love your work. Keep up the good work, Donna, and
Thank
keep on
you.
teaching these young people. I think it's important to pass the torch.
Thank
And
you for having me.
you are welcome. And good night.
Good.